Hey everybody, welcome into your go-to show for local sports, Delmarva Sports Insider. I'm Brandon Bosser.
What's up? It's your Philly sports anchor, Devin J. Martin. We got a lot to talk about tonight, Brandon.
Yeah, that's right. Let's go over some of the things that we have in store for you tonight. The Eagles backups impressing in New England. Plus, we visit Ravens and Commanders camp. We'll bring you this week's After the Whistle with one of the best young stars in the Bayside.
And football camps opening this week in the Bayside. We'll go over some of the top storylines going into the season. But first, we got to talk about the Shorebirds, who wrapped up a very, very exciting game tonight, Brandon.
Yeah, so let's go ahead and get right into the Shorebirds as they finally break that losing streak yesterday. And it seems like maybe they're going into the right direction this season.
Yeah, tonight we see if the Shorebirds can tie up their series against Carolina, and they need to continue their continuity and their chemistry that they developed last night when they had an 8-0 win in Game 3 of this series. So Game 4, though, way more exciting than yesterday's game.
Yeah, that's right. The Mudcats start in the first inning, coming out swinging. It's Eric Batania, a really good young prospect for the Brewers. Sacrifice fly, Joffrey Rodriguez, another really good prospect. He scores 1-0. Delmarva was able to keep them to only one run in that first inning, though.
Yeah, it was a really good game. Now, top of the second, Baylor Diaz out on the sac fly to center. Luis Castillo would come around to score. So now the score is 2-0. The Shorebirds trying to make a comeback, getting players on the bases. But, Brandon, they just couldn't finish for the first couple opening frames of this game.
Yeah, leaving runners on base, very frustrating. Top of the fourth, Reese Walling going to single on a sharp line drive out to right field. Here comes Daniel Guilarte scoring, and that made it 3-0. Looked like all Mudcats from then on out. But from the bottom of the 8th to the top of the 10th, the Shorebirds coming on with 3 runs in a row and only allowing the Mudcats one, Devin.
Yeah, in the bottom of the 10th, Braylon Tavera singles a ground ball to left field, bring Ryan Stafford home, and that makes it 4-4. And then finally, top of the 11th, Brandon, take it away. Michael Hernandez was the hero in this game.
Michael Hernandez singling on a bunt. No one at first to make the play, and here comes Braylon Tavera home for a miracle comeback for the Shorebirds. What a huge win for Delmarva. And
they looked dead to rights at first.
They did, but this has been an interesting week for the Shorebirds as they have a lot of fresh faces on the roster right now. The Orioles organization assigning a few young players, including Ellis Cuevas, a shortstop, 19 years old. He already stole 33 bases in rookie ball earlier this year before being promoted. He is a big riser within the organization, someone for Orioles fans to get really excited about. Plus, a number of players from this year's draft class moving on up, including first-round pick shortstop Griff O'Farrell, who had his first RBI earlier this series. He batted .344 in college this year. Second-round pick catcher Ethan Anderson, who had a high batting average, more walks than strikeouts at Virginia as well. Third-round pick outfielder Austin O'Verne, along with fifth-round pick and catcher Ryan Stafford. So these guys all starting to come together, and the Shorebirds offense starting to come to life with these new kids out there, because we saw Aaron Estrada move up to Aberdeen. We saw Anderson De Los Santos also move up to Aberdeen. So some really good players moving up, and we got some new players from this year's draft class moving in as well.
Yeah, Shorebirds always have a lot of fresh faces, and maybe this new this influx of new blood can help the Shorebirds get some more wins, get some more offense going, especially in the first half of the season. They really struggled to get on base, but now they've turned it up a little bit and scoring a lot of runs in the past few games, and maybe they can continue for the rest of the season.
And these are future major leaguers, so get out to the ballpark, and hey, we're at these games. Stay updated while we're at the games in real time. Follow WMDT Sports on Facebook and X right now. So now we're done with the Shorebirds. Let's move on to high school football. Yes, high school football, as everyone, 27 teams hitting the practice field last week or this week. So let's talk about some of the big talking points heading into this fall. We're going to start with the champs, Decatur. They won it all last season for the first time ever. State championship in football. The Seahawks losing a number of seniors, including Bryson Coleman, Corrine Bolden, Gavin Solito, but they still have superstars like David Chandler and Tribe Wise on this team.
And they're also losing maybe the best kicker in the state in Brogan Eastlake. This team has had some great culture. led by Coach Coleman. There are more than just skill position players, though, that really make impact plays. Their lineman has been pretty good. Their linebacker play has been pretty good over the past couple of years, especially with Gavin Salito at the helm. Now, I expect them to play with a lot of heart and a lot of pride. I actually did it after the whistle with Tribe Wise a couple weeks ago, and I asked them off the record, I'm like, hey, Tribe, so what's going on with the quarterback position? Someone's got to have to throw you the ball. And it's not going to be David Chandler. He's like, we got a new quarterback that was on the team last year. He was a backup to Bryson Coleman, but he's going to make a couple big plays this season, and he says that he's ready to take on the mantle and kind of take things over from Bryson Coleman at the quarterback position. So I'm expecting to see a lot of good play from him and the rest of the Seahawks.
Well, that's exciting stuff right there to hear if you're out in Berlin.
Now we got to go out to the Henlopen, one of the top Henlopen programs the past couple of years, Dover. They have a new head coach, Maurice Polk. Polk replaces Chip Knapp, a former college coach with Wesley, who retired. He led Dover to the playoffs all 3 seasons that he was at the helm, and taking, obviously, the Senators to the title game back in 2022. Now, what do we expect this season from the Senators in the 3A?
Well, Dover went out and got themselves a college coach to replace a college coach. Polk coaching in college for 14 years. Last 3, he was on the offensive line for Bowie State as their coach. So he has some experience in Delaware high school football as well, an assistant coach with Glasgow for a few years, over a decade ago. Dover losing 19 seniors, but they do return some big names like Mike Stevenson, right there, 76. He's one of the best linemen in the state. You can expect some big things out of him his senior year, along with the electric all-purpose player John Parker, #1, can do it all for Dover on the offensive side of the ball. This team is still going to have some explosive plays, I believe, and I think they'll be right at the top of the Henlopen North. So it'll be interesting to see how Dover responds to this coaching change.
Yeah, they're going to be really good. That's my prediction for Dover.
And now for some scrimmages taking place tomorrow. Delaware started a week before Maryland, so we will see a few scrimmages involving Henlopen teams coming up tomorrow. Woodbridge and Indian River in Bridgeville. We also have Lake Forest hosting Sussex Central. And finally, Cape Henlopen hosting the 2A champions, Caravel.
Yeah, that Cape and Caravel scrimmage is the most interesting here, as Cape surprised us all, going all the way to the 3A championship last fall. Obviously, they did lose in that title game. Now, they defeated Sussex Central, Dover, and Smyrna on their way to the championship game. Obviously, Dover and Smyrna, I think, making it to the state championship game the year before, and Dover and Central being 2 of the best teams in the Henlopen as a whole. But Cape Henlopen would be the team to actually make it that far anyways, and knocking them both off. So it's going to be a great test for the Vikings to see what they're made of this season, as Caravel had maybe the best team in the state last season, regardless of the division.
Everywhere. Caravel was a fantastic team in the 2A. So that'll be a lot of fun to watch. How's Mike Frederick's team respond this season to going that far and then losing in the state championship game? They were a great story last year. That'll do it for the A block. We're calling our first time out, but hey, when we return, we're breaking down the expectations for the Eagles, the Ravens, the Commanders, that and more when Delmarva Sports Insider returns.
I'm Anthony Hughes from Cambridge, South Dorchester, and you're watching Delmarva Sports Insider.